Okay, I picked up all these little jeans at the thrift store. And I looked for the cheapest ones that I could find that had cute pockets and different color pockets. So I'm cutting right along as close in there as I can get, all the way around the pockets, because I want to keep that inside part of the pocket. Okay, I want to keep that inside part. So I have that back part to glue down to our project. So I'm going to cut all the way around these pockets. And I'm only going to show you one that I cut, but I cut all of them the same way. So you see that I'm cutting really close as I can get to that stitching without actually cutting the stitching. And then I'm going to cut across the top. I cut down a little bit, but not too much. Just down a little bit so it doesn't show. Okay, so I've got that one all done, and now I'm just going to lay out all the ones that I've already previously cut. And I actually did that little piece too that I have there in my hand. That was the little 5th pocket that's on the front. I'm going to show you right here. It's that little piece, and I just pulled it up. You can see that's that little piece. I'm showing you all the details here, and I just pulled it out like this, and I just cut around it, keeping the back of it intact there too. Now I tried to iron this with my little iron, but I ended up going in the house and using my iron with some steam and pressing these little jeans down. Now I'm cutting the front of them off, so I'm going to cut the bottom off. I'm cutting the sides nice and as even as I can get them. And then I'm going to cut straight across the bottom, because we're going to make like almost a big huge pocket, if you will. We are going to make an organizer to organize our craft items, our hair items, or whatever kind of little trinkets or items that you might want to make. So it is going to be functional and adorable. So get all that trimmed off. I'm not real sure why I'm showing you how to trim all this off, but anyway, I'm showing you. Trim it all off, and then, okay, and then I frayed the bottom. Yeah, I totally should have measured all that from the top to the bottom before I cut, because I had to go back and cut more off to even it up. But now I'm just going to fray the bottom of this because I thought that would look cute. It's a little tedious and time consuming to do this little fraying technique. If anybody knows how to do it quicker, then please do tell, because ripping out all those little strings was not very fun. And this fabric had a little bit of a stretch to it, so it didn't fray as good as the old jeans did back in the day when we didn't have all that stretch in our jeans. Okay, here I'm showing you how I cut that little 5th pocket out. And I just go inside, I pull it out, and I just cut around it. And I kind of like that little, I can't remember if I left it or not, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I don't even think I used this pocket, but I just cut around it, and I like that little surged edge. I like the way that stitching looks. I think that just adds some character to it. And so you just have to reach in there because that's kind of held down with one of those little brads. So I'm just trimming it up, getting it all nice and clean. And there we go. You can see that you have the little pocket now. That's so cute. Okay. Moving right along. I did cut the button off. I cut some belt loops off. I just cut a bunch of little pieces of this and that to try to use for this little organizer. I also cut some strips of denim to make a little messy bow. I'll show you that in a little bit. Now I'm just cutting all this fabric off of this button. I tried to pull it apart. You know, if I were wearing the jeans, they would have fallen apart, but no, I couldn't get it apart. So I just cut all that fabric off that button, and I'm going to use it a little bit later. Now, for some reason, I did not push record when I thought I pushed record, but I think I pushed stop and then recorded some nonsense. But anyway, I just made a messy bow out of some strips of denim like this. I cut the legs and they were strips like this. But now I'm going to make a little, kind of a little rosette flower. And I don't really know. There's no rhyme or reason. I watched several YouTube videos of some girls that know how to make these really good. And so if you really want to know how to make these flowers, don't watch me. I highly recommend that you just Google it or go on YouTube and ask how to make fabric flowers, and you will find out how to make these. So getting that center part was kind of the trickiest. And then once you get that going, then you just start twisting your fabric around, and it's super easy. But just getting that first little part started was a little bit tricky for me. And then I just twisted the fabric and wrapped it around, and then just glued it down every, little bit so that it would stay intact, and kept it flat on the bottom, on the back side, so that I'm going to be able to glue this on our project. So I made several of these, but I only showed you one of them because that would be redundant. So this one I think is the one that turned out the cutest, so that's the one I chose to put in the video, of course, right? Now, they all turned out pretty cute, but it just happened that this fabric has that almost striped look. And then when I got to this point, I started being able to twist it where you could see some of that dark denim in there. And I don't know, I just really like the way that the colors and all turned out with this little flower. And like I said, it was really easy to do once you got started and got the hang of it. And then there I kind of started twisting it the opposite way so I get some different colors. I started paying more attention to the colors and where I wanted to place the colors. So, after you make some, then you start realizing how you should do it. So now I'm kind of just looking to see how it looks on the different colors of fabric. Okay, now I found this burlap with these daisies on it at Dollar Tree. Yes, I did. And I fell in love with it. I knew I needed it for a project. So it wasn't big enough to cover the cardboard that I had that would fit inside my frame, because we're going to use an old rustic frame that I had in my stash that was given to me. And so I just used a big piece of burlap behind it. And then this is going to really cover up the fact that I glued it onto this piece of cardboard, which I did not get on camera. So I have this thick piece of cardboard that came in the packing with our TV when we got our TV, and I saved it because I just knew that I needed to save that. And it has come in handy for so very many DIYs. Now I'm kind of just seeing where I want to place all of these pockets on my project. If I'm going to use these little flowers and where I want them, just looking around, placing them around. Where do I want them? What looks best? You can see, it's a process. Now I'm going to use the Aleene's Tacky Glue in the center because I love this stuff. It works great with fabric. And then I'm going to use my hot glue around the edges because it really does work good with fabric. And so it's going to work good with the fabric and the burlap. So I just put it on there and I just pressed it in really good so that it would get into that fabric really good. Now I hope I do not show you every single pocket, but if I do, we're just going to have to chit chat for a little while. Maybe I don't. Anyway, I just press it in. Oh well, here we go with another pocket. I reach inside and hold it from the inside so don't burn my fingers. And I did on that pocket, I glued a belt loop along the bottom, but I didn't get that on camera either. Now I'm gluing that button right in the center of that messy bow that I just cut strips of denim fabric and tied it in the middle. I'm gluing that button right in the center, and I'm going to glue that right up there above those pockets. Okay, here's that little fifth pocket. We're going to just glue it down on there as well, and it will be functional. You can put stuff in that pocket too. And then this cute little flower, just glue it right in the center. And now this big pocket, I decided I was just going to use hot glue. I got out the big hot glue gun for this, and I used a lot of hot glue all around the edges. And we don't want to get it on the inside because we want to use it as a pocket. So I glued it down, and anywhere that I thought it wasn't adhering just really good, or if there were layers of the fabric that weren't really attaching well, then I went back and glued it some more. And then I cut the seams off the side of the jeans, and just like I did the pockets, I cut really close to the seams, and then I'm going to glue it down the sides. Now I'm just doing a little bit at a time so that I can get it pressed down in there really good, and that the hot glue is not, cooling off at all, and it will press down in there, and those fibers will mesh together. And I did that on both sides. Now here's the good look at that cardboard that I used. This is the back side of it, and it's very thick, and it has like some reinforcement in between it, so it works really good. So I put it in this frame. Did not get that on camera either, apologize. I put it in this really pretty rustic frame made out of barnwood, and I'm showing you different ways with hair products or our crafting supplies. I think it turned out really, really cute. I love it. Okay, our next DIY using denim. So I got 2 pockets off of a pair of shorts. Picked these up at the Goodwill. And now I'm going to use my IOD stamp. I've got this IOD stamp pad. Works really amazing if you just use the IOD ink on there, ink it up, and be sure and store your ink pads upside down. I just learned that trick from my new friend Elsie. And I'm just going to get a good amount of ink on this stamp, and being careful not to get it on the edges. And if you do, just take a baby wipe and wipe it off. And these IOD stamps are so beautiful and so detailed. And I get my IOD stamps, all my IOD products, from Two Chicks Home and Market over in Denison, Texas. And they have a website, and they have all kinds of beautiful things on there. And if you're ever in the area, their store is the most beautiful, quaint little place. And I would love for you to pop in and visit, or go over and check out her website and all her IOD products. Now, I did both of these with the IOD stamp, this La Campagne, I think that's the name of the stamps that I used. And I'm going to glue these together because we're going to make a little simple crossbody purse. Now, if you go to Elsie's website over at Two Chicks Home and Market, you can use a coupon code. There will be a link with a coupon code for first-time customers, and you can get 10% off going through the link that I provide for you. Okay, so this is going to be a little, like I said, a little crossbody purse, and so I've glued it all down. Now I could not find the Velcro that I have. I have some somewhere. I looked at high and low, but I always save this ribbon off the towels or whatever you get, when it's all wrapped up all nice and pretty. It has this ribbon, and so I'm just going to cut the Velcro off of it, and guess what? It works fantastic. So I'm going to just make sure that I'm getting all that hot glue down in those fabric fibers really good. Now, I'm going to put this other piece of Velcro, the loop and the hook one. Okay, I'm putting it on there, and then I'm going to put hot glue on here so that I can line it up good, because I have so many times sewn Velcro in and not had it line up right. So now I'm going to get my little detail glue gun, and I'm going to get the edges of it really good, get that nice, and get a lot of glue on there. Not too much so it seeps out the edges, but get it on there good. And then I'm going to open it up and flip it over so I can make sure that I get that pressed down in those fabric fibers really good. I think that you could take some watered down paint or maybe some type of watercolors or something and even watercolor these stamps. It would be awesome. Also, okay, so now I have this. This is some macrame cord I had left over from a project, and I'm just going to make it like the piping here. So I just twisted it really good. I put that in there, and then I just cut off that little extra piece. That was the best way I could get it. Not sure why I'm shaking it, but anyway, try not to get out of camera, but I need to get up there where I could see it. Then I'm just going to put some glue in there and just smooth it down into that little seam. And then when I come around and finish, I do the same thing. Okay. Then as it starts to cool, I kind of just smash it down in there so it'll be nice and smooth and pretty. Okay, then I'm just going to keep putting that with that little detail gun, put that piping down in that little, where those two pieces met. I did it all the way around. Okay, well now I'm coming up to the top, all the way up one side, I should say. And then I have two beads. I don't know if you saw those two beads laying there earlier, but I have these two beads, and I'm going to put the two beads on just for decoration. I thought it would make it look cute. So I'm measuring now how long I need it to be. Okay, put a piece of painter's tape on here, a long piece, to pull that bead through, and then I'm going to put it there. And then I decided I needed a knot at the top so that it wouldn't continue to slide up my little purse handle strap. I guess it's a strap, it's not a handle. Okay, then this was kind of a tricky part too. Like, I needed to figure out where the bead was going to sit and tie the knot on top of the bead before I started gluing everything down. So that was a little tricky for me, but I figured it out, and then I ended up cutting it a little bit short, but it worked out fine. You'll see. I just was hoping to have a little more to work with down there at the bottom. So here we go. And then, see, I needed to be able to tie that knot, so I couldn't glue all that down. And then I was like, okay, how am I going to tie this knot? Okay, how am I going to do it? Let me measure, make sure I didn't move my bead. And then right there's where I need to tie the knot. So then I kept my finger there and then went ahead and tied the knot. And then let me measure again before I start gluing. That's what I should have done, but I didn't. I just started gluing. But it worked out. It was fine. You'll see. It fits. So I'm going to get that down in that really good. Push it down in there really good, because I don't want that to come loose and lose all my goodies out of my purse. Actually, I sent a picture of this to my little granddaughter who is 12, and she said, I like it. So she might end up with it. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just stick this piping in there with the glue all the way around to the bottom. And then I removed that painter's tape. And I was hoping that I didn't have to take the painter's tape off, that it would be long enough and I could just glue it down, then cut the painter's tape off. But nope, I didn't do that because I didn't measure for the bead good enough. Anyway, so look, it worked out fine. I just had to glue and squeeze it a little bit. So there we go. You've got your opening. You've got your strap. If you want to make your strap shorter, you could tie a knot in it. But there you go. And there it is. Let me know what you think about the stamp on that denim. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up and to remember to be still and know that He is God.